Have you ever met someone who just always seems to be short on cash? Like, no matter how much they earn, they're literally always counting down the days until that next paycheck. Now flip that. Think about someone else. Maybe they earn the exact same amount as that first person, maybe even a little less. Yet somehow, they're constantly building savings, investing, and slowly getting really financially secure. It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? Today, we're unpacking the invisible architecture of wealth.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Why do high earners go broke? Most of us just naturally assume the answer to any financial struggle is, well, a lack of income. But honestly, income is only part of the story. Staying broke is rarely about how much money you actually make. It's almost always about what happens after the money hits your bank account.
And that leads us to a trap pretty much all of us fall into. For years, we've been sold what I like to call the big lie. We tell ourselves, if I could just earn a little more money, all my financial problems would magically disappear. And I mean, it sounds totally reasonable. More income should naturally mean more freedom, right? But if you look closely at the real world, that logic just completely falls apart.
Seriously, if you need proof that income alone doesn't create wealth, just look at the headlines. We've all seen those crazy stories about pro athletes who earned tens of millions of dollars, only to declare bankruptcy a few years after retiring, or celebrities who made absolute fortunes and lost everything, or lottery winners who ended up poorer than they were before they even bought the ticket. If just having a big income created wealth, literally none of those examples would exist.
So it boils down to this absolutely crucial point. Earning money and keeping money, they are two completely separate, entirely different skills. Think about it for a second. Most of us spend years, even decades, in school and working late hours to master skill 1, earning money. But we spend 0 hours learning skill 2, keeping it. You can be a world-class expert at earning, but if you're a beginner at keeping it, you're just never going to build wealth.
Section 1. Beware lifestyle inflation. Let's look at this invisible trap.
Imagine you get a raise tomorrow. Let's say an extra 10,000 birr hits your bank account every single month. How does that extra money vanish? Well, most of us already know the answer, because we've lived it. First, you get a better phone, because hey, you earned it, right? Then you upgrade to a slightly nicer apartment. You start ordering a few more food deliveries instead of cooking. You tack on a couple more streaming subscriptions. A tiny upgrade here, a minor convenience there. None of these things seem terribly expensive on their own, but together, they quietly and ruthlessly swallow that entire raise before you even realize what happened.
This brings us to a concept you absolutely need to remember: lifestyle inflation. It's this invisible phenomenon where your expenses rise right alongside an increase in your income. This is the exact reason why someone earning twice as much as they did 5 years ago can still feel totally, painfully stuck. It's not because they don't make enough money to be secure, it's because every single pay bump automatically triggered an equal bump in their spending.
When you map it out, it really highlights the trap. Your income grows, but your expenses grow right alongside it, matching it dollar for dollar. There is zero daylight between what comes in and what goes out. And that space, that little gap between income and expenses, that is exactly where wealth is built. When those two amounts are identical, it is mathematically impossible to stop being broke, no matter how high your income gets.
Part 2. The case study of Alex versus Ben.
To really cement this idea, let's look at two totally normal guys who work at the same place and earn the exact same salary. Alex decides to save and invest just 10% of every single paycheck. Notice that's not some massive, painful sacrifice. Not 50%, not even 30%, just 10%. Ben, on the other hand, spends 100% of his paycheck. And let's be fair, Ben isn't a bad guy and he's not trying to be irresponsible. He spends everything simply because he assumes, like most people, that there's always going to be another paycheck coming next month. Now, what happens next is why so many people get this wrong. For the first year, Alex and Ben's lives look exactly the same. They wear similar clothes, go to similar places. After 2 years, their lives still look basically identical. Even after 3 full years, from the outside, you wouldn't notice much of a difference. This is the grand illusion of wealth. The most important financial changes in life are completely invisible at first.
But then, the reality totally splits. Fast forward a bit, and suddenly Alex has an emergency fund. Ben doesn't. Alex has a growing investment portfolio. Ben doesn't. When a crisis hits or some massive opportunity pops up, Alex has options. Ben only has obligations, a bunch of subscriptions, and an empty account. Their realities are now worlds apart.
The absolute most important thing to take away from Alex and Ben is this:
The massive gap between their lives wasn't created overnight. It didn't happen because Alex won the lottery or got a massive inheritance. It was created one tiny, invisible, small decision at a time. It was the simple decision to redirect just 10% consistently month after month.
Which brings us to Section 3, the invisible secret to building wealth. So what is the secret to getting out of this trap? Well, it isn't hidden in some incredibly complicated high-risk investment strategy. It's honestly as simple as growing a tree. Step 1, you plant the seed by saving a little. Step 2, you form the roots by consistently spending less than you earn. And Step 3, you let the tree grow by giving that difference time to compound. That's the whole shebang. It's not exciting, it's not a flashy trend that's going to get millions of views online, but this quiet, steady process is exactly how real financial freedom is built.
What's really fascinating here is the mental shift it demands. The people who become wealthy are rarely the ones with the highest incomes. Actually, they're the people who consistently make decisions today that their future selves will thank them for. They aren't asking, what can my money buy me right now? They're asking, what will this money do for me 5 or 10 years from now? There's this profound symmetry to all of this. Being broke is rarely the result of one catastrophic bad decision. And becoming financially secure, that's rarely the result of one single, brilliant decision either. Both outcomes are just the result of hundreds of small choices repeated over many years. You're building your financial architecture every single day, whether you realize it or not.
I really want you to remember this quote from our source material: a little saved, a little invested, a little patience. It just completely strips away all the anxiety and complexity surrounding money. That right there is how ordinary people build extraordinary financial futures. Because you don't need to be rich to start. You just need to start.
So that brings us to the end of this explainer, and I want to leave you with one final thought. If your entire financial future is really just the sum of hundreds of small choices, what will your next small financial decision be? Really think about it the next time you get paid. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this gives you the clarity to start building the foundation for your own wealth.